Tom Petty was born on October 20, 1950, in Gainesville, Florida. From an early age, Petty displayed a rebellious streak, a trait that would define his career as a rock icon. His love for music was sparked at just 10 years old when he met Elvis Presley on the set of a film in nearby Ocala. This encounter with the king of rock and roll planted the seed for what would become Petty's lifelong devotion to music. Soon after, he became obsessed with rock and roll and, in particular, with the work of the Beatles. He often spoke about how seeing the Beatles on The Ed Sullivan Show changed his life forever, making him realize that a future as a rock musician was not only possible but something he had to pursue. Before we dive deeper into the life of Tom Petty, don't forget to subscribe to Timelines Unlocked for more fascinating stories about the legends of music, film, and beyond. Whether it's uncovering untold stories or exploring epic rivalries, we've got you covered. So, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more. As a teenager, Tom Petty's life was far from glamorous. His relationship with his father was turbulent, often marked by conflict. His father was an abusive figure, which drove young Tom deeper into his love for music as a means of escape. Despite these challenges, Petty formed his first band, the Sundowners, when he was just in high school. He practiced constantly, teaching himself guitar by playing along to records and learning from local musicians. By the late 1960s, Petty had joined the band Mudcrutch, a local Florida group with whom he would take his first real steps toward musical success. In the early 1970s, Petty and Mudcrutch moved to Los Angeles, hoping to find fame and fortune. However, their initial efforts were met with disappointment. Mudcrutch failed to gain traction, and their record deal with Shelter Records led to a single that flopped. The band soon disbanded, but Petty was determined not to give up. Los Angeles, with its vibrant music scene, offered him opportunities to connect with other talented musicians. It was here that Petty met future Heartbreakers members Mike Campbell and Benmont Tench. Together, they formed Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers in 1976, along with Ron Blair and Stan Lynch. This new band had a chemistry that was undeniable. In November 1976, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers released their self-titled debut album. Initially, the album gained little attention in the US, but it found an audience in the UK, where the single, Breakdown, became a hit. The song eventually caught on back in the States, marking the beginning of Petty's slow but steady rise to fame. It was their second album, You're Gonna Get It, 1978, that brought them broader attention and commercial success. Songs like I Need to Know and Listen to Her Heart showcased Petty's signature blend of rock and folk influences, combined with a rebellious energy that resonated with fans. However, it was their third album, Damn the Torpedoes, 1979, that catapulted Petty and the Heartbreakers into superstardom. The album was packed with hit songs, including Refugee and Don't Do Me Like That. What made Damn the Torpedoes particularly significant was Petty's personal fight behind the scenes. His record label, MCA, attempted to raise the price of his albums without his consent, prompting Petty to refuse the release of the album. He entered a legal battle with the label, even filing for bankruptcy to gain leverage. His victory in this battle was a landmark moment for musicians' rights, and it made Petty a hero not only for his music but for standing up to the corporate music industry. The 1980s were an era of continued success for Petty, with albums like Hard Promises, 1981, and Long After Dark, 1982. He was now firmly established as a rock superstar, known for his distinctive voice and his deeply relatable lyrics. Petty's ability to write about love, freedom, and defiance struck a chord with audiences, making him a generational figure in American rock music. In 1985, Petty and the Heartbreakers released Southern Accents, which contained the hit, Don't Come Around Here No More, a psychedelic track that featured a bizarre, Alice in Wonderland-inspired music video that became iconic. As Petty's star rose, so did his list of collaborations. He developed close friendships with some of the most legendary figures in music, including Bob Dylan, Roy Orbison, and George Harrison. These friendships eventually led to the formation of the supergroup the Traveling Wilburys in 1988. Alongside Harrison, Orbison, Dylan, and Jeff Lynne, Petty contributed to one of the most successful and beloved collaborative albums of all time. The group's relaxed, rootsy sound and the camaraderie between the members made them a standout in the music world. Petty always spoke fondly of this time, reflecting on how it allowed him to step back from the pressures of being a frontman and simply enjoy playing music with his friends. During the same year, Petty released his first solo album, Full Moon Fever, 1989, which became one of the defining albums of his career. Though it was technically a solo project, many of the Heartbreakers contributed to the album. It featured some of Petty's most enduring hits, including Free Fallin', I Won't Back Down, and Runnin' Down a Dream. Full Moon Fever was a critical and commercial success, propelling Petty to new heights of fame. These songs, particularly Free Fallin', became anthems of American rock, beloved by generations of fans for their timeless themes of rebellion, heartache, and the pursuit of freedom. The 1990s saw Tom Petty continue to evolve as an artist. His 1994 solo album Wildflowers was a more introspective, personal project that dealt with themes of change, loss, and self-reflection. Produced by Rick Rubin, Wildflowers is considered by many to be one of Petty's best works, with tracks like You Don't Know How It Feels and It's Good to Be King, showcasing his more vulnerable side. This period was also marked by personal changes, including the dissolution of his first marriage to Jane Bainio, with whom he had 2 daughters. The end of his marriage, coupled with his struggles with addiction, made this a particularly challenging time for Petty, but it also fueled some of his most poignant songwriting. In 2001, Petty reunited with the Heartbreakers for the release of The Last DJ, an album that was a scathing critique of the music industry. In it, Petty lambasted the commercialization of music and the corporate greed that he believed was killing the art form. The title track, The Last DJ, became a rallying cry for musicians and fans who felt that the true spirit of rock and roll was being lost. Despite his frustrations with the industry, Petty never lost his love for music. He continued to tour relentlessly, playing to packed arenas around the world and maintaining his status as one of rock's most reliable and consistent performers. As the 2000s rolled on, Petty kept a relatively low profile, focusing on his family and his band. In 2008, he reformed Mudcrutch, the band that had started it all back in Gainesville, for a reunion album and tour. This project was deeply personal for Petty, as it allowed him to reconnect with his musical roots and the friends who had been there from the beginning. The Mudcrutch reunion was a success, and the band released a second album in 2016. Tom Petty's final years were filled with reflection and celebration. In 2017, he and the Heartbreakers embarked on a massive 40th anniversary tour, playing shows across North America. The tour was a triumphant celebration of Petty's career, with the band performing hits from across their decades-long discography. Fans flocked to see the rock legend, knowing that they were witnessing something special. Petty, always the consummate performer, gave his all on stage, even as he battled health issues behind the scenes. On October 2, 2017, just 1 week after the end of the 40th anniversary tour, Tom Petty passed away at the age of 66 due to an accidental overdose of prescription medications. His death was a devastating blow to the music world, but his legacy lives on through his music, which continues to inspire new generations of fans and musicians alike. Tom Petty was more than just a rock star. He was a symbol of resilience, a champion of artistic freedom, and an enduring voice for those who refuse to back down in the face of adversity. If you've enjoyed this deep dive into the life of Tom Petty, make sure to check out more episodes on Timelines Unlocked. From rock legends to Hollywood icons, we explore the stories that shaped our cultural landscape. Like, comment, and subscribe to stay updated with our latest content. Let us know in the comments which celebrity timeline you'd like to see next.